Hey y'all, I'm your Southern Lesbian, Ashley. Welcome back to episode 20. Yeah. Are you good at receiving love? That is our topic this week. How are y'all feeling out there? I know it's been a bit of a crunchy week. A lot of turbulent emotions going on. A lot of uncertainty in our community, especially the trans community. My heart goes out to y'all. I know it's scary. I don't know what's coming down the pipe. But I just do feel like, not that y'all asked my opinion, but we're here. So while you're listening, I might as well just tell you. I just feel like the United States is going through sort of a reckoning, if you will. Those in astrology call it the Pluto return, but it's a bit of a reckoning for the country. All the years since the foundation of the United States, there's been some fucked up shit, y'all. There's been slavery and racism and sexism, and our spending has gotten out of control. What it costs to just live and survive has gotten out of control. Healthcare is out of control. I feel like a lot of things are just being forced to the surface right now that we have to look at. Not that we've been passive, because we haven't, but I feel like things are going to keep pushing forward to be dealt with until they're dealt with properly and for the long term. And I just feel like that's what's happening right now. Regardless of which side you voted for, it's like we both have things that we're drastically unhappy with, right? There doesn't seem to be any middle ground that we can all agree on. So things have to change, y'all. Things have to change. Yeah, so anyway, right, here we are. Again, I say find your community, find your people. If you're already here, thank you, welcome. I'm so happy you're here, and we'll continue to have chats in the comments. I'll speak about stuff here as best I can, and if there's anything y'all want me to address, then please let me know. If I feel qualified to speak about it, I will. If I don't, then I can at least get conversation going for you guys. The TikTok community. If you haven't been to the Your Southern Lesbian TikTok page, that is a fantastic community, y'all. Right now, mostly what's happening is people shopping for their wives in the comments. I swear, every post is just like, here's where I am, here's how old I am. It's so cute. I love it. And I know that's what TikTok is for, partially. If you haven't checked it out, go there. There are conversations happening. People are chatting amongst themselves, and it's really fun to watch. I love it. I love seeing what you guys banter back and forth with, and from all over the world. I mean, there's people, good Lord, the countries that are represented there, and the cities and the states, and it just blows my mind. It's such a cool global community. I really am enjoying the TikTok community. So today's topic, y'all, I wanted to just ask you, because last month, like I said, our theme was dating and where to find the lesbians. We're still talking about dating because this is where we are. We are, most of us maybe that are here, lesbians of a certain age. I know that that's, of course, the viewpoint that I'm speaking from when I'm talking to y'all. And I have found that as we date and we get older, it gets a little bit more challenging, right? So if we want something that we've never had before, we have to do something differently than we've ever done before, right? So in our earlier years, in our 20s, our 30s, maybe even our 40s, going to the bars might have felt okay for you to go and find someone to date. First of all, the amount of lesbian bars has dwindled to, very tiny. There are some out there, thankfully. Not everybody's comfortable with that, right? So I've hit a point in life where I don't drink anymore. I want someone who's really grounded. I want someone who's not into partying. So I have found other ways to meet women, and we talked about that last month, right? So brings us to, as we are getting older and as we are looking for new love in our life, I want to ask y'all, how are you at receiving love? Are you good at receiving love? Can you receive love? What do you do when people compliment you? Do you take those compliments in and say thank you? Do you push those compliments away energetically, unintentionally, maybe even by just saying, this whole thing, I just found this on the floor. And if someone compliments your smile or your eyes or anything, something you're wearing, how do you receive that? If you're not already comfortable just zipping it and saying thank you, I want you to practice that. Please practice it. Go practice it in the mirror. Do whatever you gotta do. We need to be comfortable with receiving love in all the small ways. If someone asks if you want help with something and you do, like maybe it's moving something, if y'all are living by yourselves or and you need help moving a furniture item or carrying something to the post office. I don't know. When people offer to help you, do you accept, or do you feel guilty and say, oh, I don't want to put them out. That would be terrible. Well, and the reason I bring all this up, y'all, is because it does all correlate in how we open ourselves up to receiving love. Because all of these little things are indeed forms of love. And if we can't accept love on a smaller level, I think that it's incrementally more difficult to accept love on a deeper level and have bigger conversations and, allow our partner to help us on a bigger scale without shrinking, right? Stand up for ourselves in certain situations without feeling guilty. All of this comes into play together. So I think that's really important. And it's something I really want you guys to work on if you are not already. Some of y'all are like, Ashley, zip it, this is old hat. I've been doing this for years. Move on. But I feel like a lot of y'all out there haven't quite learned this because, again, thank you for your comments because I read those. I do read the comments. I do read your DMs. And I sort of gauge where I feel like the majority of the community is in order to determine what the next topic is for y'all. So I just keep kind of getting the sense that there are some folks here who really, really want love and really are trying to find it, but maybe just in the tone of the comments even that I'm seeing, there's some walls up there. And I don't think that some of y'all even realize that that's what's happening. Another example would be somebody saying that they really want love, but serious inquiries only, or what, there's instantly a little barrier up there. And when I see something like that, there's not that you're doing anything wrong, there's no wrong, okay? I'm just gonna tell you what I'm sort of feeling when I see those things. When I see people throw up the negative things immediately, I don't want this, I don't want that, serious inquiries only. Well, first of all, who's going to be serious with you meeting you online for 2 seconds? I mean, it's just, God bless you. It's not going to start that way. So maybe just open yourself up to the fact that it's going to start the way it's going to start, right? I feel like some of y'all are so afraid of being hurt. We talked about that a little bit last week, and I'm sort of still on that same topic this week. You're so afraid of being hurt that these barriers start to come up before you can even open yourself up to finding out who somebody is. I mean, y'all know I'm not a fan of online dating. I can't freaking stand it because it's so hard to tell who somebody is. You can look at a picture and go, oh, she's really pretty, but, and I see what her profile says, but what if she's lying? Or whatever it is, but it doesn't matter. You have to get past that, right? You have to at least say, okay, swipe right, whatever. I'm gonna try this because I don't really know who you are. I have to get to know you a little bit more before I can decide if this is something that's gonna work for me or not gonna work for me. But the point is, you've gotta give some space there for somebody to want to come into you, because if I'm somebody online and instantly I'm saying, well, I only want to date someone that lives in this city. Well, what if there's somebody that's extremely compatible for you that's 2 hours away? Again, this is where we are in life, right? And if we want something different, we might have to do something different to get it, right? Because our typical paths aren't going to work for us anymore, possibly. So I've mentioned going to the meetups. I know some of y'all are going and having fun with that. Some of y'all are still having a tough time with that. I would say consistency. My biggest thing that I've learned in going to these things over and over again is, well, 2 things. 1, no expectations. Drop your expectations when you go to these meetups. You've got to go with the intention of just meeting some new community. That's it. Just go thinking, I'm going to expand my community today. And one day, somebody may pop in there that is a little bit more for you. And that may happen more than once, who knows? But you can't set yourself up for failure that way, because if you go with the expectation of meeting somebody and then you go once and you didn't meet the love of your freaking life, then what? Then you're essentially energetically cutting yourself off from that way to meet somebody. And you don't want to do that, right? The other thing is, it's not a bad thing to build more friends or just people whose faces you recognize when you go out to these, because then you'll get more comfortable going to these again and again, right? And the second thing I would say is when you go to these things, you're starting to meet some people, right? The most important thing I think you can do is be consistent, continue to show up. By the way, that's just rule of thumb for anything in life you want to be successful at. If I want a successful podcast, guess what I have to do? I have to be consistent with y'all. I have to continue to show up so that you can trust that you're going to see my smiling face every week, or as often as possible, right? Because if you're starting to want to put some trust in me that I'm going to be here for you and that we can start a community and we can start these conversations, then it's my job to show up. So it's the same thing when you're going to these meetups or going to anything, a pottery class, whatever it is, something where you're making an effort to make new community. You can't just go a time or two and go, well, it didn't work. That must be it for me. No. So you go and you consistently go because that is going to let the people who are there know that you are someone that they can count on. You're someone consistent. You're someone that they may want to introduce one of their friends to you. Should somebody go through a breakup and become available, they're going to go, oh, that girl's kind of cool and she keeps coming. And, I feel like maybe, I'm just saying, consistency proves that you're reliable. And that's kind of what you want to do, right? Also, if you continue to go, that's where the new people come in, right? So maybe in the beginning, you're just making friends with people, but lo and behold, y'all, and I speak from experience, time and time again, this is how I've met several people that I've dated. Somebody brings somebody new. Somebody goes through a breakup, like I just mentioned, and here they are. And now, they're back in the dating scene, whereas maybe they weren't before. So you can't judge the group just as you get there as, there's nothing there for me. I don't see anything. Well, give it a minute, Broomhilda. I'm just saying. Have I drilled it into your head enough? Okay, thanks. Yeah, because I don't need to harp on that anymore for y'all. You get it. But I will say, y'all, that these things do work, but you have to put the time in. You can't just be short-sighted when you're looking for long-term love. It's gonna take a minute. You're gonna weed through some people that, even if you do go on some dates and you do get excited about meeting somebody who's really attractive and y'all are really attracted to one another and you have a lot of things in common, you still may get down the road a couple months in. I've had this happen already a few times since I've been dating, and it's just part of the process. You guys have to hold your heart in such a way that you can get yourself through this. You are strong enough to do this. You can put yourself back in front of other people and risk that. And you have to know walking in that it may do this, and you can't armor up and brace up and push everybody away if you want to find somebody. You have to open your arms wide every single time. Let them in fully. See who they are fully. Give yourself fully, because you want them to see who you are. You absolutely want to be your full self and your authentic self. Because if you don't let every piece of you show up, and if you don't allow them to do the same, then you're not going to know what works and what doesn't. So be vulnerable. Be vulnerable with what you want, where you see yourself in a few years, what your dreams are, your non-negotiables, and the things maybe that you can negotiate and slide on a little bit. Be honest with all that stuff. It's so important. Authenticity to me is just the sexiest thing. And I'm telling you, the girls that I've dated where we've had that and we've been able to be really authentic and honest with each other about where we are and where we're headed and what we want, those are the ones that I'm staying friends with, and whether I see them all the time or not, it doesn't matter. It's like you learn to separate with a little bit of grace, and you can honor what that person really wants without it being as painful. Y'all, that's huge. And I feel like maybe that's a key ingredient that's missing too, Because when we're authentic with someone, when you hear trust with a capital T coming at you, I don't feel like there's much that we can do to argue that. I remember being in a place in my life where I wouldn't speak my full truth. That was a huge problem for me in relationships for a long time. I would get into relationship with girls that I would see that there were red flags all over the place, but the chemistry was so good and we were having such a great time together that I just thought it would magically sort of weave itself into something different. And let me tell you something. No, girl, no. So now, as we speak our truth, as we come from a more authentic place, if someone looks at me now that I'm crazy about and they say, That doesn't work for me. I don't want those things, Ashley. Well, what do I do, y'all? I mean, you say you wish them well. You know, it's hard. Sure, it's hard when you like somebody, when you already have spent some time with them and invested, and you've started to kind of picture yourself, you know, as their little wifey, making them dinner every night. But you know what I'm saying? It is something that's difficult to go through, but you will survive it. And it is part of the necessary process of dating again. And I feel like so many of us in the lesbian community were raised in households that were really difficult. And we built up all these defense mechanisms that now we're having to learn how to undo a lot of that thinking, right? Because all of these defense mechanisms that we used as kids that served us well and kept us safe in relationships from parents or other family members or people around us or whatever, now those things, you know, have become a detriment in real life, in our romantic relationships, and we're having a tough time being vulnerable. We're having a tough time letting go of things, breaking down those walls, letting somebody in, letting someone see us fully, speak our mind and what our needs are fully. And until you get to a place where you can do that, I think that's going to continue to happen, and you're going to go through these very painful breakups and very difficult, have a lot of difficulty stepping back into the dating world because it seems so overwhelming, and all you're seeing and all you're carrying with you is all those painful experiences that you've had. And the only thing I can tell y'all that changes that is time and experience. The more you practice going out with people and the more you have these conversations and you try people on and you have the healthy conversation if it doesn't work, and you go out with somebody else, you have the healthy conversation of what's working, what's not. Over time, you start to develop trust in yourself, trust in your own intuition, in your own gut, in where your intuition is leading you in life and who your intuition is now leading you to. So that is kind of what I got for y'all this week, and that might feel like a lot for some of y'all, but I just want you to sit with that. And if there are any resources that I can think of book-wise, because I've read so many, y'all, I've done so much of this work, my God. I'll find them, y'all, I'll find them. I'll scroll through my little Amazon. I'm not good at pulling names out of thin air, I'm not, but if I look at the list, I'll know they're there for y'all, and I'll share them with y'all. Wishing you so much love, and thank you again for being here. Please subscribe if you enjoy this content, and share it with somebody if you think it could help them. The subscribes, the likes, all of it really does help me, y'all. So I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you being here. Tell me where you're from. Comment below and just tell me where you're watching from. I know there's like hundreds and hundreds of y'all out there because I see the numbers every week and I have no idea where you're from. No idea. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Please drop me a line if there are any subjects that you'd like to hear discussed, or DM me if you'd like to hear subjects discussed. I cannot always respond to all the DMs. Forgive me. I always try to respond to the comments first because those are what's out there. So I try to respond to those first, but just let me know if there's anything else y'all want to hear about. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue to sort of read the room and see where it takes us, all right? Have a great week, y'all. Bye.